Morning, everybody. Am I audible? Yeah, a very warm welcome to all of you on Saturday morning for this webinar on a very important topic. So I'm just going to give you a very brief idea of what really we do at the Confluence. Basically, we have developed that, and it was ready last year in the month of July, August, as a Center of Yoga Science and Sustainability, where we are trying to connect the whole idea of sustainability, which is something we all talk a lot about nowadays, and how yoga science, when practiced in a very genuine manner, in a sincere manner, can develop and transform our personalities, where we naturally start to think in a very sustainable manner. So can you please move the slide, Yogita? Thank you. So generally, the activities at the Confluence are divided into two periods during any year. One is a monsoon period, which is starting now in the month of June, and which will go on up to early October when the monsoons end. And then we have the autumn and winter time from November up to early March. So these are the best months to be at the Confluence. Otherwise, what we have planned is that between March and May, we run online activities, and we will do some online webinars in the month of October also, just to stay connected with everybody who's kind of becoming part of the whole concept itself. Yeah. Next slide. So actually, this summer we had a very interesting series of talks on Karma Yoga by Dr. Shireen Venkat. She's a very well-known gynecologist who's based in Pune. And the last of the, I would say, the sessions, which was the 12th one, just concluded on the 30th of May. And today we have this webinar. And actually, we are hoping that the monsoons will hit Maharashtra by end of the coming week. And hopefully from 8th and 9th, we'll start our regular activities. Yeah. So actually, our schedule for the entire monsoon month is already out. You can visit our website and see we have lined up programs right from June, July up to early October. And the programs are divided into 4 core categories. One is purely related to yoga, philosophy, and spirituality. And then we have programs related to health, physical, mental, emotional health. And then we have some programs for management and leadership, and also for teachers and faculty members. And we have very interesting programs only for families, where families can come there and spend some quality time together. We have some plantation drive, which has been planned in July this year. So we are hoping to have people coming there for these sessions. Yeah. So that's all from my side. I would like to introduce the speaker of the day, which is Dr. Muralidhara Bhat. So let me just give you a brief idea of Dr. Bhatt's background. He's an Ayurveda physician. He's done his bachelor's in Ayurvedic medicine and surgery. He's also a qualified psychologist. He's done training in hospital management, in counseling, and also in yoga therapy, plus NLP, TA, and teachers training program. He has an amazing amount of experience in dealing with senior living, dementia care. And recently he's founded his own organization called Jeevan, which means full of life. So that's what Murli is for all of us. And I am not going to waste any time further. I'll request now Dr. Muralidhara Bhat to take over. Murli, all yours. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Pawanji. I'll take a minute to set the slide first. I believe the slide is visible now.
Yes, doctor.
Yeah, thank you. Very good morning, everybody. We hope to engage you for about an hour or so with this, knowledge sharing session on the art of eating. So while I was preparing these slides, my daughter asked me one question, one basic question. The diet and nutrition is considered to be science, and why are you calling it as an art? That was a good question, I believe, because everybody considers, it's science. Food is science, and the concept of nutrition and the concept of diet, again, is science. There are specific courses available academically, and there are professionals who are available to guide you in the field of diet and nutrition. So that makes it more as a science. But how it is an art. So while I fully agree with the fact that the concept of diet and nutrition is completely science, whereas eating is more of an art than science, because eating is more of a subjective thing. It involves a lot of personalization. It also involves involvement of all our senses and creativity. So that's why it's art while it comes to eating. Well, so this is usually when we say Ayurveda, um, the first thing that comes to everybody's mind is Ayurveda is ancient form of medicinal science, which originated from India. So that's the common thought everybody has. But is it really so? Let's look into the classical definition of Ayurveda before we move into the actual concept of diet and nutrition as per Ayurveda. The definition says hitahitam sukham dukham ayush tasya hitahitam manam cha tacha etroktam ayurveda sa uchyate. That means um, which is good uh, for the life, which is convenient for the life, which is happier for the life, and which creates dukkha or distress in life. And understanding of what is happiness, what is good for the body, what is good for the life, what is good for the mind, and how to achieve that goodness and equilibrium in life. How to measure that equilibrium of wellness in life. So that is called as Ayurveda. The fact that the medicinal part or the medical part of Ayurveda is only a small area of the entire system of Ayurveda. In other words, to say, Ayurveda is nothing but a way of life, knowledge of life, where a human being can live harmoniously with nature. I repeat the word harmoniously with nature. Um, Fine tuning ourselves with the nature so that we are in harmony and we are in balance, and we are happy. Uh, you know, Without harming the nature. That's actually is the aim and meaning of Ayurveda. Now coming to the concept of why diet is so important. I mean, if you look at this knowledge of Ayurveda or the spiritual textbooks of Ayurveda, scriptures of Ayurveda, um, elaborate descriptions or importance is given to the science of diet and nutrition. So we typically call it as ahara. Why it is so? So there is a saying that rogaha sarvepi mandagno. So I mean, there is this concept of agni in Ayurveda, which means the ability of a human being to digest and assimilate and absorb. The concept of digestion is not limited to what we eat and what we digest in our stomach. So in Ayurveda, it goes beyond that. Whatever we eat, whether we are able to digest it physically in our digestive system, and whatever is digested, is our body is intelligent enough to absorb the nutrients as per the requirements of the body. We may be eating a lot, but is the body is intelligent enough, or the system is intelligent enough to absorb what is required for the body? And so that is part one. Part two of it is whatever that is absorbed into our system. So that should go to the peripherals of the body, each and every cell of the body, and each and every cell should be able to pick up what is required for that particular cell. That again is another intelligence which should be present in the body. Is the body able to do so? So that is the entire concept of Agni. So we typically call it as, Kosthagni, Jatharagni, which is, the digestive ability which is present in our stomach and digestive system. And then there is, Bhatwagni, and then there is a cellular level, Agni, which is available. So now, if a person is healthy, this system will be functioning in equilibrium and we will be able to manage our health and wellness. Now, when it comes to ill health, it is considered to be, it is a reason behind, reason which has arrived from Mandagni. That means the digestive fire or the digestive ability, both in our, digestive system and in our peripheral systems, is not functioning properly. That is the main reason behind most of the health related illnesses. So that is what Ayurveda says. And majority of the illnesses start from our digestive system, koshta, we say. Okay. Now, is it really so? So if you look at the modern understanding of our diet and nutrition, it's very important that we take balanced diet. It's not limited to that. Further up, our digestive system is full of um, useful bacterias, non-harmful bacterias, and harmful bacterias. We co-live with these bacterias, which help us to digest and assimilate and absorb whatever nutrition that is required for the body. So it is understood that as on today, there are about 400 different species of bacteria which is present in our gut, and each one of these useful bacteria are helping us in some or the other way to digest our food and to absorb our food and to have this intelligence where what to absorb and what to throw out. Okay. Now, it is now researched and understood that people who stick to their traditional food have more of these bacterial colonies, and people who are sticking to ultra processed modern food have lesser number of bacterial colonies. So the study says a normal city dwelling person has about 150 to 200 different species of useful bacteria present in his gut, whereas people who live in villages who are not using ultra processed food have larger number of bacterial colonies available in their gut. That's why their digestive system is stronger than people who live in cities. Now, so that also intensifies the understanding that most of the diseases which arise from the digestive system. And further in Ayurveda, we say, ahara sambhavam vastu rogaha cha ahara sambhavaha. Okay. A human being or animal is outcome of the food he or the animal takes. And similarly, disease also is dependent on what kind of food he is taking. And that's why it is very important to understand what is hita, that is what is good for us in terms of food, and what is ahita, what is not good for us in terms of food, and adjust our dietary and eating habits so that your sukha dukha or happiness or discomfort, that is taken care of. And also, in Kashyap Samhita, which is one of the classical textbooks of Ayurveda, it is said that it is possible for us to cure any disease, with food alone. Shakyate api anna matrena naraha kartum niramayah. So if the physician is intelligent enough, if the patient or if the individual is cooperative enough, it is possible to cure most of the diseases by diet alone. And further, he says, Bina api bheshajam vyadihi pathyadeva nivartate. Natu pathya vihinasya beshajanam shatairapi. That means um, it is possible to enhance the qualities of medications by having right diet. And without having the right diet, the effectiveness of the medication is reduced. So this is typical modern understanding of diet and nutrition. Diet is the science of feeding people according to their requirement. Again, if you look at this definition also, it's highly individualized. Nutrition is the science of food and how the body uses it. Now there is basic difference between the concept of ahara and the concept of diet and nutrition in the conventional science. Typically, why we eat, the conventional understanding is we eat to manage our emotions. It's food also is a major source for socialization, so it takes care of that part also. Food we eat because of our personal taste, and food also serves as a status symbol for many people, and we eat as per our eating habits and also to mitigate hunger. So this is the conventional understanding why we eat. But according to Ayurveda, why we should be eating and why we eat is to take in prana to live. The prana present in food that nourishes the prana which is present in our body, and that helps us to be happy, and that helps us to remain with hitayu, that is a favorable lifespan. Okay. Now the nutritional element as per conventional understanding is the calories and the micronutrients. So when we say calories and further we divide, go further, calories give us the energy content. Further, the micronutrients like proteins, vitamins, minerals, and other aspects which are present in food help us to nourish ourselves. Whereas the concept of nutritional element in Ayurveda is based on the concept of Pancha Mahabhuta. Whatever we eat uh, is made up of these Pancha Mahabhutas. I believe I don't dwell deep into this particular concept because this. Let me make this clear before I proceed further. The concept of diet and nutrition in Ayurveda is very vast, and it is highly impossible to cover it in a span of 45 minutes or 1 hour. So I'll be covering the basics and also some basic principles which as takeaway for all participants here. So I'm not dwelling deep into that. If the participants are interested in having a series of talks in Ayurvedic diet and nutrition, please mention it in the chat box. We will organize a series of talks hereafter. So now the focus of diet and nutrition as per conventional sciences, as I mentioned, is micronutrients and various form of food groups. Now, according to Ayurveda, physically the food grouping or micronutrients is important, but however, it is not just limited to that. The focus is how the body processes what we eat. I'll give an example. One glass of milk is processed and utilized differently in different people. For example, if that milk is consumed by a growing up child, it is utilized for the growth. The protein in that milk and the calcium in that milk is utilized for growth of that particular child. Same glass of milk, if it is utilized by an athlete or a heavy worker, that energy present in the milk is utilized for the energy. Now, if the same milk is utilized by a pregnant lady, the calcium in that or the other nutrition in that is utilized for the favorable growth of the womb. Same milk, if it is utilized by a person who is having sedentary life, it can become fat. So now same glass of milk had different effect in different people. So Ayurveda focuses on this particular part. So whatever physically that food item is made up of is important, but however, more important is how the body utilizes it. So while choosing our ahara, while choosing our food, we should be mindful of choosing right items. We will come to that a little later. Now, why food is important for us? It is important based on caloric and nutritional value as per the conventional understanding. Whereas in Ayurveda, the diet is based on individual constitution. So we get into this constitution theory of Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. So every person is having a dominance of one or two of these doshas, and based on the constitution, the diet should be selected. Now, the balancing of food, as per conventional understanding, is made by balancing of food ingredients, whereas in Ayurveda, there is this concept of Shad Rasas. Rasaha Swadu Amla Lavana Tikta Ushana Kashayakas. So there are 6 tastes which are told in Ayurveda. And while selecting a diet as per individual requirement, we select as per taste of that particular food. I'll dwell little more into that in coming slides. Okay. The basic understanding as per conventional dietary system is predominantly you are what you consume. Whereas in Ayurveda, it is what you digest and assimilate. Okay. Now, what is the definition of Ayurveda as per, definition of Ahara as per Ayurveda? It is Ahriyate iti Aharaha Anna Panadi Sarve. That means whatever we swallow through our tongue, through our throat, into our digestive system, whatever we take inside, that is called as Ahara. Now, we start with some basic principles of dieting as per Ayurveda. The first and foremost principle of dieting is Hita Bhuk. And that means eat healthy and which is right and which is good for you individually. And Mita Bhuk, that means eat in moderation. Third concept is Rit Bhuk. That means eat as per season. So in Ayurveda, there is a lot of importance given to eating or consuming food or ahara as per season. Now, while we plan ahara, while we plan our diet, we plan as per prakriti of the person. That is, I was just mentioning about vata, pitta, and kapha are the 3 major constituents of the body. Based on these constituents, we choose the food. That is first principle. Second principle is while choosing the food or while choosing our ahara on daily basis, it is based on the season. You have a different set of prescribed diet for summer, winter, and rainy season, and other seasons as well. And the food also varies from childhood to adult age. So age wise also there is difference in uh, food or ahara. And kala, desha and kala. Desha is place of living. What is wholesome food for somebody who is living in a very cold atmosphere is entirely different than the food that should be consumed by a person who is living in a dry and hot atmosphere. So, according to the region where we live, the quality and quantity of food and also the type of food which we take should be different. And the food also differs as per time of the day. So the prescribed food for morning is different, prescribed food for lunch is different, and prescribed food for evening is different as per Ayurvedic principles. And the last one, which is very important, the ahara is entirely different as per the digestive and assimilative ability of the body, that is Agni of the body. So that is very important. When all these constituents or conditions are fulfilled, the food is called as hitahara. And I believe most of us, may not be planning our diet and ahara as per this. Now, this concept of atiyaha ahara, ati ahara or excessive nutrition, that leads to a condition called as Agni-mandya. So when we say Agni-mandya, it is related not just to indigestion. It is more about our body loses the ability to distinguish between what to absorb and what to throw out. I'll slightly explain this. You might have seen many people taking, nutritional supplements. Despite of taking nutritional supplements, maybe like vitamin B complex, vitamin D, capsules, tablets, etc., or calcium, or it could be minerals. So we take various nutritional supplements. Despite of taking nutritional supplements, many people end up with the nutritional deficiencies. Despite of taking good amount of calcium rich food, people may end up with calcium deficiency. Now, why does this happen? So as per the principles of Ayurveda, this happens because of Agni-mandya. When we say Agni-mandya, what it is the diminished ability of the body to understand what to absorb and what to throw out. So when there is Agni-mandya, body may not be absorbing the nutrients which is required. And there has to be this intelligence inside the body, like how much of fat to accumulate in the body. So every person is different in terms of his prakriti. So you might have seen there are people who eat so little yet become fat. There are people who eat so much yet their body is able to digest that and they don't become obese. This is because of the various abilities of Agni in different people. Now, whenever the intelligence of the body is lost, the person ends up with health issues. And when there is ati ahara or excessive nutrition, it also leads to dosha prakop. That means the balanced state of vata, pitta, and kapha that gets hampered, and any one of them or multiple of them may get exaggerated or reduced, and the person may end up with health issues. Now, while we plan daily diet, so these are the principles which are to be followed. One, prakriti of the food, like we have our own body nature, body quality, like vata, pitta, and kapha. Similarly, food also has its prakriti or nature. And we also need to consider how various contents of the food are combined together. Like we may be utilizing, pulses, we may be utilizing vegetables, or certain pulses and vegetables are compatible with each other, or is that combination is good for us? So that also is need to be considered. Karana, whether that particular food item, whether it is rice or whether it is wheat or whether it is a vegetable, whether our cooking method is conducive for that particular food, that is to be considered. And what is the quantity and quality of the food that is to be consumed, and is the food consumed is good for that particular region, or is it staple food for us? So modern day dietary illnesses are also because we mix and match a lot of food which are not not staple for us. Like we import a lot of food related thoughts from abroad and we start eating that, may not be staple for us. So what is staple for people who are living in southern part of India may not be staple for people who are living in extreme northern part of India. So the staple food of that particular region is very important. And are we eating the food as per season? That also is very important. And the methodology of consumption, that means are we consuming the food in liquid form or in solid form, and which is the form which will give us the best nutritional quality of the food, that is to be considered. And the user also is very important. And these are various food you know groups which are made in Ayurveda. um, so one, cereals, pulses, meat. So a lot of people, I mean, there's a myth that Ayurveda talks only about vegetarian food, or Ayurvedic medicine doesn't contain anything which is non-veg. It's a myth. um, there are there is elaborate explanation available in Ayurvedic text about non-vegetarian food also. Because this is because there are certain parts of the country, or certain parts of the world where vegetarian food may not be available in abundance. To overcome that, consumption of non-vegetarian item also is explained in Ayurveda. And in certain health conditions, certain non-vegetarian food items are also prescribed as food, as medicine. Okay. So that so elaborate explanation of various non-vegetarian food also is available. And explanation about greens, fruits, vegetables, fermented food. Even fermented food, like madhya, various types of madhya from various sources, also considered as nutritious when consumed in optimal quantity, as food and as medication. So none of these groups are considered to be ready or okay to overdo. Overeating of anything or consumption of any of this is not good. Okay. And then there is entire list of milk and milk products, explanation of qualities of various types of milks, like whether it is buffalo milk, cow milk, or goat milk. So where and how to use them and in what quantity, all these are available. And various types of honeys and sugars, and processed food, different varieties of water. So we drink water every day, we consume water. How the water should be, and what should be the quantity of water we should be drinking, and what time of the day, and in what form it should be taken, whether it should be warm, it should be hot, whether it should be boiled, and in what time of the day, what kind of water should be consumed. So all this detailing is given in the concept of ahara in Ayurveda. Now, irrespective of the place, age, and time of the day, these are certain items which are considered to be uh, good for daily consumption. So Ayurveda says these are safe food for us to consume on daily basis. So this is the basic list, which has rice, shali. There are different types of rice which are explained, but one of the safer food according to Ayurveda, which is conducive for everybody, is rice and the moong dal. And among salt, it is the senda namak, or the rock salt, Himalayan rock salt, which is prescribed. And amla, which is Indian gooseberry, which is considered to be one item which a person should be eating on daily basis. Milk also is considered to be good for daily consumption. And in a moderate quantity, a prescribed quantity, clarified butter, the ghrita or ghee, also is considered to be good for daily eating. And again, in a moderate quantity, honey is considered to be good for daily consumption. And among meat, jangala mamsa, that is meat which is from arid region, which is lighter, is considered to be good for daily consumption if a person is non-vegetarian by his staple food. And among water, um, rainwater or collected rainwater is considered to be best among all forms of water for drinking and daily consumption. Again, how to do that? There is elaborate chapter available on how to collect rainy water and store it. And these are certain items which are considered to be not good for daily consumption. One is pipili. Generally, these days people don't use pipili on regular basis, but however, the modern diet is full of salt. Especially all processed food is full of salt and full of processed sugar. which is a complete no according to the principles of Ayurveda. So we should be eating salt in a very moderate content, and the prescribed salt is rock salt, that is Saindava Lavana, and Samudra Lavana is not good for daily consumption. That is, sea salt is not good for daily consumption. So any kind of alkalis, so is not considered to be like the baking soda or cooking soda. These are all not good for daily consumption. Surprisingly, curds, which people consume on daily basis in most of the places, according to Ayurveda, it is one of the reason for disturbance in our circulatory system, and it can damage the heart. That's the reason why curd is considered to be not good for daily consumption. Instead, what Ayurveda prescribes is churned curd, that is the takra or the buttermilk, which is good for daily consumption. And black gram also is not good for daily consumption. Fish meat also is not good for daily consumption as per the principles of Ayurveda. So quickly, I was mentioning about choosing that as per our dosha system. Ayurveda believes in the concept of Pancha Mahabhuta, and each dosha is made up of two, Mahabhutas. And whenever we plan diet for people, we consider the availability of these Pancha Mahabhutas in that particular food. So I'm not getting deeper into that because it itself is a bigger discussion. Okay. So generally, what we do is a person's nutritional requirement is met with these states according to Ayurveda. These are the basic tastes: Madhura, Amla, Lavana, Tikta, Katu, and Kashaya. These are the basic tastes, which should be considered while we plan our ahara. So a wholesome diet or a good diet is considered to be a combination of all these tastes. Typically, you might have heard in India, we call it as Shadrasa Yukta Ahara. So that means a food which consists of all six tastes. So when we balance our food with all six tastes, every meal is balanced with these tastes. That itself takes care of balancing of the diet. That is the concept of taste balancing in Ayurveda. Again, we talk about Satvika Ahara, and Rajasika Ahara and Tamasika Ahara. I'm not getting deep into that. A quick look at season-wise choice according to Ayurveda. So we are moving from summer season to rainy season in most parts of our country, especially the southern part of the country and the Mumbai Maharashtra region, and also northeastern part of the country is moving into rainy season now. Now, during rainy season, what we should be consuming is easily digestible food actually which is low in fat, and seasoned rice, older rice, aged rice, and pulses, juices, soups, and taste wise, the food which is rich with sour and juicy fruits. These are prescribed for the rainy season. Whereas for us who are still in that summer season, plenty of fluids, liquids, um, you know food which is cold in nature. When I say freezed food, it's not refrigerated. In Ayurveda, we don't prescribe food which is too hot, which is too cold, because the body will be spending a lot of energy to make it normal. Whatever we eat, I think this is worth explaining a little bit, because whatever we consume, say for example, if we drink, refrigerated water, it may be comfortable or soothing for us at the moment of drinking. But when we consume refrigerated items or refrigerated food or refrigerated water, it has to get acclimatized to our systems. Like, once we drink the cold water, it goes to your stomach, and the body has to work extra to make it equal to the body temperature. Whatever we consume ultimately will become body temperature. So to make the cold water into body temperature, the body will have to spend some energy and the body heats up again. So from this point of view, consuming refrigerated items, very cold items, is not prescribed in Ayurveda. Ayurveda elaborately explains about viruddhahara. So that means there are certain combination of food which should not be made. Like equal quantity of honey and ghee is not prescribed or advisable, and milk and citrus fruit within a gap of half an hour of consumption is also not advisable as per Ayurveda, because this leads to Agni Mandya. We were discussing about it a while ago, which can lead to hampering of our digestive intelligence. Milk and fish, that is contraindicated. Meat and honey, that is contraindicated. Bitter food in summer is contraindicated. So it's part of the country which is still, reeling under heat waves. Bitter food is not indicated in, summer season. And fat-rich food in hot and dry areas. The areas which are hot and dry, fat-rich food is not advisable. So like this, there's a whole list of toxic combination which are explained. Now coming to practical suggestions of Ayurveda, which can be followed by everybody without understanding much about prakriti, dosha, or seasons. So forget about all this for a while. These are the principles which can be followed by everybody for better health. One is eating only 2 or 3 meals a day. That is highly recommended by Ayurveda. The conventional understanding is frequent meal is good for health, whereas Ayurveda says a proper interval between two meals and having food at same time every day is beneficial. Here is the reason. One, our body is having a very intelligent biological clock. And when the clock is set right, the body will be knowing at what time to secrete digestive juices. That means, say, suppose if you are eating your breakfast around 8 o'clock every morning, and if you're eating your lunch around 1 o'clock or 1:30 every noon, the body clock is set, and at that particular point of time, body will be ready. Your digestive system will be ready to secrete required amount of digestive juices because the clock is set. Now we keep on varying the time. We keep on frequently eating. Again, it's an understanding which we should be having, that whenever we have a proper meal, the body will be secreting. So our stomach will be secreting about 500 ml of hydrochloric acid into our stomach. Just imagine 500 ml of very strong liquid which is rich in hydrochloric acid in our stomach. So if the clock is right, now if we go on varying this clock, we eat every 2 hours, we eat in irregular hours, the body gets confused and the body will start secreting digestive juices any time of the day. And the quantity also is confused. So when the intelligence of the body is lost about when to secrete and how much to secrete, the body will be in imbalance. The result is the person will end up with acidity. That means, typically it is called as acidity these days. So excessive secretion of acid in the body, acid in our stomach, because of which there will be burning sensation, indigestion, belching, loss of appetite, or excessive hunger. So all these things do happen. So to set the digestive issues right, it is very important that we stick to an eating timing and eat our meals during that particular time of the day. So as per Ayurveda, the noon food or the lunch should be the heaviest, because it is the time, noon time is the time of pitta, which is very strong in managing our digestive agni. And at that point of time, if our meal is more nutritious and heavier, it is easier for the body to digest it. Okay. So that's why the lunchtime meal is considered to be important, and should be stronger and heavier. And then uh, it's very important that we eat with a very positive emotional state. Ayurveda gives a lot of importance to this. Ayurveda says, if you are angry, if you are sad, if you are distressed, never eat your meal during that particular time. You can skip your meal, because um, whenever we are running through our emotions, a lot of toxins will be released as a offshoot of our emotions. These toxins, which are secreted by the body itself. Okay, so when we say toxins, these are certain chemicals, certain hormones, which are not conducive for that particular period of the day, that particular period of time. So whenever certain ingredients of the body are secreted which is not required at that particular moment, it is toxin. So now these toxins get released to our system when our emotional state is not right. And if you are eating at that particular time of the day, our digestion may go wrong, and our intelligence of the system, which to digest and assimilate our food, gets disturbed. That's why it's important for us to sit and eat with a positive emotional state. And again, um, the next principle is eat only if your previous meal is digested. We are in compulsion most of the time to eat our meal as per timing. That means I'm used to eat lunch every day, so I have to eat lunch of the day. It's not so. Ayurveda says eat if your previous meal is digested, only if your previous meal is digested. Say, suppose you had a party, you had a heavy lunch in the afternoon. Even if you're habituated to take dinner, you can skip that dinner because your previous meal is not digested. So, most of us, with our basic intelligence and basic understanding of our body, will be able to understand whether the food we have taken in the previous meal is digested or not. The moment we understand that the previous meal is not digested, it is not advisable to have meal again. Next, Ayurveda says always wash your hand and mouth before eating. Cleaning our mouth is very important before eating, because, um, as I said in the first slide itself, eating is an art. Art requires involvement of all senses. So when we touch the food, when we smell the food, when we taste the food, our body's ability to digest it is better. Now, um, we may be having certain other tastes. Say you had a mouth freshener, you had a mint, you had some other strong odored or strong tasting food or food items before your meal. It's very important to clean your mouth and readjust your taste buds when you take a meal. So that's why clean your mouth before eating. And Ayurveda says the sense of gratitude is very important while we eat. It gives us extra ability to digest with a positive frame of mind what we eat. So the sense of gratitude comes uh, from praising the food, and praying the food, and also feeding somebody who requires food at that particular point of time. So that is very important that we eat with the sense of gratitude and feed somebody and pray before you eat. And very important that always sit and eat. Now, the posture which is suggested in Ayurveda for eating is, if possible, if your body permits, sit on the floor with a insulation, with crossed legs, and always bend enough to take the morsel of your food. So there are benefits of doing this. While sitting on the floor and while you bend and eat, while you sit with crossed leg, the possibility of overfeeding ourselves is lesser. The moment we sit upright and the level of food is equal to us or slightly lower than us, the possibility of us overfeeding ourselves is more, because we won't be bending our stomach. There is no pressure on the stomach when we don't bend. The moment we overfeed ourselves, when the stomach is full, while we sit on the floor, when we bend, there is pressure. You come to know that your stomach is full. So that's the reason Ayurveda always says, always sit and eat. So not doing any other work while eating. See, after all, we all say, why we live, or what are the basics of life? We say roti, kapda, and makan. So roti comes first. So for this roti, if we don't spend at least certain percentage of our day's time, what is the fun in eating? So always spend at least about 20 minutes per meal, at least about 20 minutes per meal. So that means, while you eat, don't do anything else. No watching of TV, no reading newspaper, or not into our mobile phones, because that is food for thought these days, not the regular conventional things. So please, take some rest from gadgets and electronic media while you eat. And then chew the food thoroughly while eating. Ayurveda clearly says why we should eat, um, you know, uh, with a lot of importance given to chewing. Ayurveda says every morsel we take should be chewed at least 32 times. This not only starts the digestion in our mouth, because even the science says the same thing. The digestion starts in our mouth. Ayurveda says the bodhaka kapha, which is present in our mouth, starts the digestion. So our salivary gland, or the salivary juice, has certain enzymes which actually starts the digestive process. Plus, more the saliva which is secreted during eating process. Again saying, while eating process, if the salivary secretion is optimum, it protects our stomach from bad effects of acid which is produced in our stomach. So it is having dual and multiple functions. So while we eat by multiple times of chewing, it not only starts the digestion in our stomach, in our mouth itself, but it also is a protective thing for our stomach from the strong, acid. Now, this is one very important principle which is told in Ayurveda for dieting. Ayurveda always says matra shi syat. That means please eat in a prescribed and conducive quantity, which is good for us. So, according to Ayurveda, fill two parts of our stomach for stomach capacity with solid food, one part with liquid food, and leave one part empty. So there is no way of compartmentalizing our stomach. It's up to our intellect. It's up to our individual understanding. How much is my stomach capacity? Now, understanding that capacity, eat only two parts of our stomach with solid food, one part with liquid food, and leave one part empty. That means we are not supposed to eat stomach full. So, that much of space should be kept. Whenever we feel satiated, at that moment, even if the food is tasty, if we feel like eating further, stop at that particular point of time, which is very important according to Ayurveda to maintain the quality of Agni in our body, because Agni Mandya create diseases which we have already seen. Very quick, glance of what is good for us as per Prakriti. I'm not dwelling deep into this. For people who are with vata dominant, Prakriti, they should be eating more of Madhura rasa, Amla rasa, and Lavana rasa dominant food. When I say Madhura rasa, it is not the sweet of sugar and jaggery. All food which is having sweetish tinge, like rice, wheat, also have sweetish tinge. So the all raw food items which are having sweetish food tinge are considered to be Madhura food items. Madhura, Amla, and Lavana, which is good for Vata dominant people. For Pitta dominant people, madhura, and so bitter and astringent, which is good for consumption. For people with kapha, bitter, astringent, and pungent, katurasa. So that is considered to be good. Now, the concept of utilizing food or ahara to improve the quality of medication. So if you go to any Ayurvedic physician, they will always say, what is the pathya? What is the food which is not to be consumed? The concept of, pathya is the ahara or vihara, which is beneficial for the body is considered to be pathya. And the food which is not beneficial for the body is considered to be apathya. So with that, I think for the time which is available for us at the moment, I'm closing it for now. We are open for questions now.
I think we have a few questions. Yogita, can you please read them out? And
Certainly. Certainly.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone for putting in your questions. You can still feel free to do that. If we have time, we'll try to cover as many as possible. So some I've received directly, some are on the chat. So I'll start with the first one. Dr. Murli, first question is, are there any specific foods indicated to avoid arthritis and foods that might help heal it?
Absolutely. So there are, specific foods which are, advisable for, issues which are similar to arthritis. When we say this, again, as I mentioned in the initial conversation itself, discussion itself, it is the concept of food is highly individualized. So me, commenting that, certain fruit, say, for example, typically it is understood that, fruit like pineapple is very good for arthritis. Now, I'm hesitant to pinpoint certain food items here because it is highly individualized. Pineapple is generally good for arthritis, but however, it may not be conducive for certain type of people. So typically food items which increase or vitiate vata are not good for arthritis. So food items which are palliative for vata are considered to be good for arthritis.
Right.
Okay, so it's always advisable that you you get advice from a good Ayurvedic physician who is near to you, and get individualized prescribed diet which is good for arthritis for you.
So next, I'll move to the next question. While choosing to eat foods available, is there any ready reckoner compatibility chart available basis dosh type to refer while making an informed decision?
Yes, there is. But before getting to that particular list, I suggest you please understand your prakriti type. Understand your prakriti type, and also it is very important that if there is any imbalance in the prakriti, that also is to be understood. Based on that, this ready reckoner lists which are available in the net. So these days, if you Google, so please try to get the list from authentic sources. When I say authentic sources, say if they are giving any reference to Charak Samhita, Sushruta Samhita, or any other Ayurvedic textbooks. So if it is based on the references of those textbooks, it can be a ready reckoner. So a lot of them are available in the net.
This is a connected question. While traveling for work, it is difficult to get food items which may be cooked correctly as per as a type of cooking or in alignment to the needs or requirements of the body. So how do you make a healthy decision in that
Yeah,
situation?
so this is a very good question, according to me, because these days a lot of us do travel, due to work reasons. How to choose a wholesome diet when we travel and what is good for us? Yes, we have very little choice while we travel, but however, still we can choose from the items which is available, maybe in a buffet or in a restaurant or wherever we stay. At least we can minimize the ill effects of eating everything which is available in the buffet. So now, what I mean, I have told what is generally good as a diet, like uh, rice, and for people for whom wheat is staple, for them either rice or wheat, whichever is staple for them, is a safer choice. Among all dal, moong dal is a safer choice. Okay, and don't go for curd. Instead, if there is a possibility of churned curd, that is buttermilk, that's a good choice. So similar to that, go for seasonal vegetables of that particular region. So try to see if that particular vegetable is seasonal. I mean, these days you get apple throughout the day, which is not possible, right? So uh, try to eat fruits and vegetables which are seasonal. So if you follow these some certain basic principle, it is possible for us to modify our diet.
Right. Is there any time indicated as to when to consume alkaline water? Avgandha Rishtra.
Ashwagandha Arishta.
Okay, Ashwagandha Rishtra, sure, sorry.
I don't know. Maybe. See, for consumption of medications as per Ayurveda, there are certain medicines which are prescribed before food. There are certain medicines which are prescribed after food. Any medication which is having self-generated alcohol. So the asavas and aristas do have some amount of self-generated alcohol. To avoid any irritation to the gastric mucosa, it is always better to consume them after food, maybe after about 20 minutes after food. And consumption of water, again, it depends upon the prakriti of the person. A person who is who is desiring um, to reduce body weight should be drinking water before food. Person who want to maintain good health should drink moderate water during meal, and or after about an hour after meal, but not too much of water during meal.
Right, right. I think this is a generic question, but I'll still try to narrow it. So how to know which type of food I should eat? So I'll just add my bit to it. Like, let's say if I'm new to this whole concept, what should be my first step in understanding how to plan my food chart?
Yeah. The first step is to understand, what is staple food for you, because most of us, um, do have staple food in our respective regions. Say, Maharashtrians have their staple food, South Indians have their staple food, Bengalis have their staple food. Understand what is staple food for your region. And also for our work related requirements, we might have migrated from one place to the other place. Understand what is our staple food, what is the staple food for the region which we have moved in. Now there has to be balancing between these two. Okay. Second, consider what is our age, consider what is the season, and consider what is our digestive ability. So certain basic understanding of these things is to be made first before we get into further detailing of the dieting. So it's highly individualized, as I said.
Of course. What is how is paneer indicated? Is it like good, bad, seasonal? In Ayurveda?
Paneer in moderation is indicated. Which is a good source of which is a good milk source. But however, daily consumption of paneer, because it is made by altering the actual nature of the milk. So consumption of paneer on daily basis is not recommended.
Right. How to understand our own body type correctly?
See, there are a lot of reading materials that are available in the market. Like, you go to any bookstall, you take some basic understanding of Ayurvedic principles. That is one way of doing it. But safer and better way is to go to Ayurvedic physician who is closer to you and have a conversation. See, understanding the basic prakriti or the basic nature of the person will have to come partly from the observation of the physician and partly by the subjective details which are given by the person. So it's a combination of both. So it's better if you go to a physician and get your prakriti evaluated.
Yeah. So consultation session would be the right thing to do where you can talk
It's the right thing. So I mean, nowadays a lot of institutions and Ayurvedic centers around India, around globe.
So I'll take one final question now. Is there any measure of calorie requirement or calculation of calorie in this Ayurveda diet planning?
No, Ayurveda doesn't believe in calorie theory. As I said, the effect of same food is different in different people. It's entirely dependent on the intelligence of the body, how the body absorbs it and utilizes it. So if the body's intelligence is lost, even if you are taking the right amount of calorie, it may not be processed rightly in the body. So if the intelligence is good, the body would be able to, even if you eat, slightly imbalanced food, the body will be intelligent enough to absorb only what is required for the body.
I'll take one last, I know I already said, but one last question I will take. Yeah, so is there any food recommendation in and around alcohol drinks?
In and around alcohol?
Yeah, so let's say if I'm at a party and I've had 2 drinks,
yeah.
Is there any food?
Okay.
Yeah.
So, see, there is, a whole lot of explanation which is available for different types of alcohols in Ayurveda. So, we may be surprising for many people. But however, what is recommended or what is suggested if somebody is consuming alcohol and at that point of time eating is, never leave your stomach empty after drinking alcohol. The food which is not too spicy, the food which is not too sour should be considered consumed after taking alcohol.
Okay. And I think this question I've received twice already, so sorry, I'm just covering this one as well. How do Bengalis have fish as well as milk here at the same time? So fish and milk, I think we've already...
I was expecting this question will come up.
Okay.
Because for Bengalis, fish is a staple food on daily basis. So in Ayurveda, there is this concept of Satmya Ahara. So that means over generations, I mean, not for one generation, over generations. So when we say over generations, it's more than 6 to 7 generations. So over generation, if a particular food item is consumed by that particular community or particular people of that particular region, the body will develop that intelligence to digest that. So this is called as Satmya Ahara. Okay. So there can be individual Satmya Ahara also, but in general, for the community, there is a special ability which is built. So an example for this is, see, people from certain geographical regions like Andhra Pradesh, they will be eating so much of chilies. So they don't end up with, as commonly as other people, they don't end up with the digestive disorders due to hyperacidity, etc. If similar amount of chilies are consumed by people who don't consume that much of spice on regular basis, they will end up with problem. So this is because over a period of time for the same food, there will be additional digestive abilities which are built.
Right. That's great. So I think there are a couple of more questions which I think would be better if we respond to you in writing. For example, people have asked about reliable websites or resources. So while Doctor, you have already covered, we will also give it in writing and send it back to them. Of course, we have received a few requests to have this as a regular session, Doctor, as you had recommended at the start. So we will see if we can arrange something and inform everybody. And of course, as we also mentioned, the entire upcoming program list is available on the Confluence website, which you can go and visit. So I think with this, we have covered most of the questions. Dr. Muralidhara or Mr. Pawan Kapoor, are there any closing comments? And then we can thank everybody.
No, I would just like to thank Murali for really, really enlightening session. And of course, all the participants for being here today with us. Thank you very much. Murali, all yours, please.
Yeah, thank you for this wonderful participation. It was a good crowd, and usually in webinars, people filter out within first 20 minutes or so. I could see people are here. Thank you so much for staying back. Thank you so much, and thank you, Pawanji, and the Confluence for giving me this opportunity.
By the way, just for information, in July we are planning some sessions with Dr. Bhat at the Confluence itself. So we will keep you all posted of these programs, and look forward to we have a chance to actually meet Dr. Bhatt in person and probably have more interaction with him. Thank you very much.
Thank you everyone for joining. Have a nice weekend. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care, all of you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.